Hello everyone. So this question on the community, can we divide the right for admin account, is really interesting, and the answer is very simple, but I thought I'll probably cover it because I'm sure you also want to do it. Now the question is that to install a plugin we need admin rights, and that is correct. Only Jira administrators can install the plugin, but at the same time what this user is trying to understand is can we limit or can we restrict what administrators can see in a project or basically in the Jira instance. Now, the requirement here is that they don't really want to give rights to people to install the plugin, because if they are admin, then they can view any issues or any project in Jira instance. And that is correct. So the way Jira works is you have these global permissions called Jira System Administration and Jira Administration. So basically they are roughly the same kind of permissions, but at the same time, what you can also do is you can use the permission scheme in your project where you have this permission called browse project permission. So only people who are added to that particular permission, let us say a role, will be able to access a project and of course do further things based on the permission. Now, if you do this, you can probably create a permission scheme based on a project role, and you can tell your project administrator, people who are responsible for managing the project, they can of course add people to the project role. But the thing is that your Jira administrators, if they are not part of the permission, they will of course not be able to see the project in the beginning, but they can always go to the project settings because they have access to the list of all the projects and they can add themselves. So they always have the right to modify this or maybe just add themselves to the project role. But I think this might work. It's not really a foolproof solution. And I think in this particular case, you have to trust your administrators. You have to give them, if they have to manage the Jira instance, then they will of course be able to see anything. At the same time, I don't really understand why you are talking about installing the plugin. I don't really think you should install the plugins freely because, you can, but you should install plugins or add-ons, or I should say apps, based on a problem that you're trying to solve. If you're trying to install a plugin for time tracking, then you need to evaluate what plugins are there. If you're trying to install a plugin for, I don't know why I'm saying plugin, but app, then you need to evaluate plugins for automation like script runner, or maybe use the built-in automation rules. If you're on server, then you do have other options. So basically, don't install apps freely. And I think only administrators should have access to it because they know how Jira works. And it is their responsibility to make sure that your Jira instance has the right customizations and the plugins that you need. I'm saying again plugins, but yeah, plugins. But the thing is that there is also a cost involved when you install plugins or apps. So make sure only people you trust have this right, and they can of course then suggest what Jira instance can do for your teams. Now talking about the global permission, I can actually show you very quickly. So if you go to your Jira instance, right now I'm on cloud, but it is same on server, at least this part. So if you go to the global permissions, you have things like, if you look at the permissions, so you have administer Jira. So basically this is what you need to check, who people who are added to this this particular permission here on top called global permissions. This administer Jira, they are basically the administrators. And on top of this, you can use the permission scheme. So if you look at the permission scheme, right now I'm using Jira free instance, so I don't really think I'll be able to modify the permission scheme, but I can hopefully show you. Let us take a look at one of the permission scheme here. I wanted to look at the permissions, so let us look at the permissions. And the permission that you need to modify is this one, browse project. So basically remove this permission from any logged in user to change it to something like project role, and that is it. And give your or tell your administrator, project administrator, not Jira administrator, to manage this. And project administrators have, they are normal Jira users, but they have the permission to modify or manage versions and components, and they can add people to the role. So I think this is what you can do. But if you are administrator, or if there is any administrator, they can always come to this permission scheme, or maybe they can go to the project by going to the project list here, and they can add themselves to the project role or modify the permission scheme. So you have to basically trust your administrators and don't install plugins freely. Okay, that is it. That is all I wanted to talk about and share in this video. Bye bye.